So what's up everyone, in this video we are gonna learn about APIs, and let me tell you guys, this video will make sure that you will learn about APIs in a very easy way, and by the end of this video you will have no problem understanding APIs. So let's start this video guys. So guys, let's start with the basic example of API. What is an API and how an API works? So here, as you can see in this image, we have our backend, and in the backend we have a whole lot of requests. We can send a post request, get request, put request, delete request, and any kind of custom request to the API, and the API will return data to us. The data in JSON format, of course, or you can say that any kind of format as the API is programmed in. So it's a basic example of API guys. That's how the API works. So guys, for better understanding, this is another example of API. As you can see here, we have our end user and the developer which programmed the app, and here is the API, and here is the database. So how the flow works. So as an end user, you will get all the required information on your app screen, as you all know, and the developer will design the application so that it could access the database and the APIs. And the API will connect the assets and the database, and it will send the data to the end user guys. API send the data to the end user. It's as simple as that. So guys, let's take an example of a weather API, how a weather API works. So as you can see, I have a link here which is called api.openweathermap.org, and this is the query it sent. It sent the Q parameter of the city name, or you can say the country name, anything you want to enter here, you want to know the weather of. So for an example, New York is here, and also you provide your API key to the application. So whenever you click on that link or whenever you open that link, it goes to the API, gives the API your API key, and whenever the API authenticates your API key, it returns your data. So how the data will look like, let's talk about this. So for an weather API, your data will look like this. This will all be in the JSON format. As you all can see, we have the location and the name and the region, and also a ton of other type of information with the temperature and the text which will contain the weather condition. So in this case, we have partially cloudy. So guys, this is the basic example how an API works. We go to this endpoint, we provide our API key. In the back end, the API key is authenticated, and also it provides us the data in a JSON format. So this is all theoretical guys, you will not understand until we try this out. So yeah, let's talk about example now, and also let's practically demonstrate how API works and how you can also make your own API in just minutes. So guys, let's fire up VS Code and let's go with that. So guys, in this folder, I will open VS Code. If you don't have Node.js installed in your PC, I will highly recommend it to install that, because in this video, we will take example of Node.js. And now let's fire up the terminal. So here is our terminal. I will make it a little bigger so you all guys can see that. Let's start with npm init, which will initialize the npm project for us. Press enter, and now your project is started. So now make a new file which will be named index.js. So this is the main file which we'll work with. We'll work with only one file so you guys can understand how everything works. So yeah. So guys, first of all, we have to set up an Express server. So this is the most important part, starting up our server. So we'll go with the const express equal to require express. Here, as you can see, express is required now. After that, we'll go with app and we'll initialize the main function of express. After that, let's fire up the port number which we want. I'll go with port 3000, and after that you will go with app.use express.json. So this is a basic server which you will need to run if you're using Node.js. So this is basic guys, this doesn't contain any API thing, so I'll not explain all of this. If you guys know Node.js, then this will be very easy for you. If you guys don't know Node.js, then you guys have to first learn about it, because this is the most important thing if you want to work with API. So yeah, let's go. Now we'll log it. Server is running. So guys, fire up your terminal now. So as you all know, we required the Express module, but we haven't installed it yet. So we'll go with npm I, and we will type Express here. So Express will be installed. After that, just go with node index.js and it will run your server. So server is running. This server will not return us anything because right now we haven't configured any type of route. So yeah, let's talk about API now, how API will work. So as you all know, our server is running. We will just stop our server for a while because we want to send a response in JSON format. So this all application, this Node.js application will work for us like an API. So let's make a variable called users and also include some users in here. I'll go with ID and the ID will be 1, the name will be John. Okay, so here's the first user, add in comma, and you guys can make any amount of users you want. I'll go with 3. So second will be Jane and third will be Harry. So yeah, Let's go with that. So this is the data we want to send whenever somebody goes to an specific route in our API. So what is the route? So as you all know, we want API/users, right? So whenever somebody goes in that particular endpoint, then we'll return the users to the client. So let's make it. So in Node.js, we'll go with app.get. After that, it will include the route we want to configure. So our route will be API and users. After that, it will take two objects, which is one is called request and one is response. So whenever somebody goes to that link, we'll just response it by using res, and we will return it in a JSON format. And what we want to return is users, right? So you will type here users. Our API is configured right now. So whenever somebody goes to now /API/users, they will see the users, right? No guys, because we haven't run our server yet. Let's go with node index.js, press enter, and our server is running. Now, if I refresh this page, we'll see a response if we go to API/users. So let's go here. As you can see, we have the JSON response here, and this is the basic response that any kind of weather API gives if you go to that particular location. Yeah guys, the weather API that you use will contain an API key also for authentication, but we are not talking about authentication in this video. We are only talking about how APIs work. So this is a basic example. As you all can see, we have our JSON response. So here is the response which our API is sending to the user. So the user can't see anything like that. It will have all the basic HTML here. But now guys, you will say that an API doesn't work only that way. We can also add data to the API, right? So yeah guys, we can also make that. So yeah, let's talk about that now. You can just add another route so that any user can be added to the API users endpoint. So as you all can see, here is the get request to get the user and post request to add the users. The same thing here, the request object and the response object. And in this function, in this route, you can make a new user, and it will be equal to the ID of the user, which will be the users variable here, and we'll take the user variable and we will see the length of it, and we will add 1 to it. So if we have ID 2, ID 3, this user will have ID 4. Yeah guys, you guys are right. You guys are understanding this. I hope so. And the another parameter for that will be the name of the user, and the name will be from the request parameter, which will the client will send, and request.body.name it is. So yeah, now we are done with the user, creating the user. Now we have to push it into our variable. So yeah, let's go with that. Users.push and new user. This is pushed now, and we'll return a status which will be response.status, and we'll return 201 in a JSON format, and we'll return the object of new user. So guys, this is done now. We are also adding the user. We are also seeing the user. So now let's try to run this now. Node index.js. And let's go with the making a post request. We can make a post request from the browser. So we'll use something called Postman. So I have Postman here. I can make a new HTTP request. The request will be a post request, and the URL will be localhost 3000/API/users. So we will make a post request here, and we will send a raw data of JSON format. We'll define a JSON here, which will be name, and the name will be, let's give it a name KT. So now we'll send the data, and as you all can see, ID is 4 and the name is KT. So as you can see, we have successfully made the API work like the way we want. It is adding a user and it is showing the users. So we'll also go with the new user. Let's name him Leon, send the request, and the ID will be 5 and the name will be Leon. So yeah guys, our API is working now. You can make your API respond any way you want. So guys, this is the basic working of an API. So I hope you guys understood this video. Please subscribe this channel and like this video, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Till then, goodbye.